Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs leading against Brentford by 2-1, and it all started very early. Brentford taking the lead inside 30 seconds again through Mbeumo, but then Solanke equalising on 8 minutes before Brennan Johnson making it 2-1 to Spurs on 28 minutes. Aside from that, Spurs had another 2 or 3 really good chances to increase their lead, and Brentford actually had a couple of good chances to equalise before the end of the half as well. So it's all geared up for a fascinating second half, and Spurs already on the attack down the left here with Heung-min Son and James Maddison just at the edge of the Brentford penalty area. He's already trying to flood the edge of their box as Aya stops an initial ball in from Son for it's played back into midfield. It's with Christian Romero now. Options here on the right-hand side. Finds Brennan Johnson. There's an overlap from Pedro Porro, but Johnson goes alone towards the edge of the area. Just shows a bit too much to Janelt, and Brentford can now try and get the ball away. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and James Smedley taking you through the action. James, it's all geared up for a decent second half, we're hoping.
It is indeed. I mean, chances were plentiful in that first half. Both teams had numerous opportunities to score. Tottenham probably the most out of the two, and I think all the chances that really occurred in that first half came from the opposition's own making. A lot of dodgy playing out from the back from Brentford allowed Tottenham's opening 2 goals, and the Tottenham will be full of confidence. They've gone forward here and won another corner.
They have. It's Pedro Porro's cross into the box, which is a charge down. It's Lewis Potter that got the block in there on the line, and it will be a corner kick to Spurs. So they've got the first set piece inside 90 seconds of the second half, and it's going to be the left foot of Dejan Kulusevski to whip it in here from the right-hand side. Plenty to aim for inside the box. It's Kulusevski's ball in. Oh, it's just glanced away off the hands of Flecken. But in fairness, it was effective enough. It gets the ball away from the box, and it's kept alive on the left-hand side here by Maddison, who tries to take on Damsgaard, who just does enough to put a foot in and then deflect the ball back off Maddison and out for a goal kick to Brentford. So it is Guglielmo Vicario in goal for Tottenham. Back four of Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven and Destiny Udogie. The 3 in midfield are Dejan Kulusevski, Rodrigo Bentancur and James Maddison, with Brennan Johnson, Heung-min Son and Dominic Solanke as the attacking 3 for Brentford. It's Mark Flecken in goal. Then a back 4 of Christopher Aya, Sepp Vandenberg, Ethan Pinnock and Vitaly Janelt. The 3 in midfield are Mikel Damsgaard, Yeko Yarmoliuk and King Lewis Potter, with Fabio Carvalho and Brian Mbeumo as the 2 up front, as the ball is now played back towards Flecken. He's been closed down there by Solanke, but Brentford do just about keep possession. It's Collins then sending a long ball over towards the right-hand side, taken down here by Aya, and as Aya committed a foul there, Brentford win the ball back, although Udogie was saying that there might have been a challenge there from the Brentford man. Vandenberg now playing it back towards Flecken. A long clearance from him. It just eludes Mbeumo on the run. And the Spurs have the ball back now with Vicario.
They do indeed. It was end-to-end stuff there. Long ball after long ball. And both teams probably just want to get settled in this game so far. It was a rather turbulent first half for both sides. And they'll just want to get a good footing on the ball. But it's a ball forward here and Tottenham are in.
They are indeed. It's with Son. He takes it down onto his right foot. Just about enough of a challenge there from Vandenberg to get a foot in and stop Son on the run. And now Yarmoliuk doing his best to try and shield this ball away from Udogie, then back heels it to a teammate, and Brentford just about, in fact they win a free kick there at the edge of their own box as well, so that will just take the sting out of everything, and a free kick to the visitors.
Well, it was a really, really good challenge from Vandenberg there, because Son was all by himself. Vandenberg makes up the ground and is able to just stick a foot in as Son cuts inside on his right foot, because that would have been a real bit of danger there for Brentford. The alarm bells were ringing at the back line, but as I say, good defending from Vandenberg to just nullify that threat.
Flecken now to clear this one long for Brentford. 4 minutes on the clock in the second half. First half score still maintained it, 2-1 to Spurs. And it looks like there's been an interruption in the game between Leicester and Everton. We're not quite sure what's happened there, but that game hasn't yet restarted for the second half as far as I know. Neither is Villa against Wolves. A lot of added time in that first half. So we'll let you know, of course, of any other changes. To remind you very quickly, it was West Ham 0, Chelsea 3 in the earlier game. In the games at 3 o'clock, it's Villa 0, Wolves 1, or Fulham 2, Newcastle 1. It's Leicester 0, Everton 1. Liverpool lead against Bournemouth by 3-0. Southampton 1-0 up against Ipswich, and Spurs 2-1 up here against Brentford, as Brentford having to clear their lines again. It was a long ball up towards... Damsgaard felt he was fouled after a clearance there from Flecken. Referee John Brooks says no foul. It was just a throw to Spurs, which Pedro Porro takes. And now Bentancur finds Maddison on the left-hand side. Maddison thought about a left-footed ball into the box, just checks his run, and then tries to play a quick 1-2. He does play a quick 1-2, and it's Kulusevski going for goal. Left-footed strike there. They're stopped by Flecken. before a ball deflects back out into the penalty area. And as Brentford got lucky there, it may have deflected off a Spurs man, and it's just out for a goal kick after all of that.
Yeah, I think it hits Kulusevski in the face on the rebound from his original strike. He should be doing a lot better with that, though. The Swiss international, he's got a lot of, he doesn't have a lot of time, but he's fairly close in. The ball from Maddison is really nice. It's one of those where it's just running along his body, and it's got all the pace on it if he can divert that. But I think it does take a little bit of a deflection off Collins, I believe it is. That's a really good bit of defending.
It does. It just straightens the ball out a bit. It may well have been going further into the corner had it not been for that deflection. It's ball now towards Lewis Potter, being won back here by Pedro Porro, and there's space here for the Spanish to get it towards the edge of the penalty area. He just stops and lays it off here towards Solanke, who's out wide this time, and Solanke's ball into the box. Ironically, Solanke would have been the ideal person to try and receive that in the penalty area. Doggy trying to keep it alive before he plays it out for a throw to Brentford, and Bumo will leave this one for Christopher Ayer. Just to remind you as well, Crystal Palace against Man United is the 5:30 offering in the Premier League this evening. That will be available on our service, as will be the two games in the Premier League tomorrow. Brentford now having worked quite hard to get the ball away from their own half. It's just a long, hopeful ball towards the left-hand side. And to say, I mean, Lewis Potter got there fairly quickly, but it was still a giveaway, really, and easy for Pedro Porro and Vicario to deal with that one. But then Pedro Porro plays a loose ball into the middle, and Brentford have it back. It's chaotic from both sides at times here, but Yarmoliuk's first thought is to go back towards Nathan Collins, and then he finds his goalkeeper at the edge of the penalty area. They're flecking over now towards the right-hand side. Higher into Mbumo. Played back now towards Vandenberg, and it's with Brentford's keeper again being closed down here by Solanke. Kulusevski's lurking at the edge of the area as well, but Brentford do get the ball away. Pinnock now towards Collins on the left-hand side as Bentancur steps in and wins this back for Spurs. He breaks into the box. Oh, was he tripped as he breaks into the penalty area? Solanke with the strike. It gets charged down. They may have to look at this now because Brentford clear their ball, but there may still be a chance here for Kulusevski as he fires that one in. It's out for a corner kick, but that doesn't stop a couple of Spurs players turning to John Brooks immediately, asking, because it did look as though there was a bit of a trip there on Bentancur, but is it enough for VAR to get involved? I
think it's one of those, because he's off balance, Bentancur. He's drived into the box. Collins makes a little bit of contact, but I don't think it's really enough to give a penalty any day of the week, and Spurs will rue that missed chance from Solanke, because he probably should have followed that into the back of the net.
He should have done it. The corner kick was taken short. I'm not sure with the current VAR rules. I don't think necessarily that means that they can't check for it now, but I think that it probably has been and gone. Brentford were able to clear their lines, and Carvalho's ball up towards Mbumo is easily won back, and now suddenly Spurs have players over heading towards the Brentford penalty area. It's Kulusevski in towards Son. He gets charged down back towards Kulusevski. Options here for the winger, but he can't quite get a ball into the box first time around. He tries again, and just to take the consolation prize of a corner.
It does indeed. It was a run forward from Son there. I think Kulusevski might have just hesitated to play him through initially, because I think he might have thought his teammate was offside, but Son had a lot of time to get back on side, and he was screaming for the ball, so I can only assume that he was seeing something that I couldn't, and he was in fact onside. But again, promising from Spurs, again, a lot of space here. They're pressing Brentford and they're forcing mistakes, and if this continues, there'll only be more opportunities for them.
Yes, it's a seventh corner kick for Spurs, but this one is too close to Flecken. Comfortable save there for the Bees keeper, who sort of strode forward to the edge of his own box with real purpose, like he was going to bowl it out quickly, but in the end he waits until every single outfield player is back in their position before he does it. So it's any kind of quick move there from Brentford has been killed off, but they are in possession now at the edge of their own penalty area. Yarmoliuk back towards Ethan Pinnock, who's certainly at fault for the first goal. Pinnock now back towards Flecken. Pushing forward again as he gets the ball back from his goalkeeper. Space here down the left. A quick first-time ball from Damsgaard. Doesn't reach Collins. It doesn't reach Collins the second time as Damsgaard went for it. Spurs are trying to go on the attack. It's just about kept in play by Pedro Porro, and he's got an overlap here from Kulusevski. Kulusevski didn't want to cross it in on his right foot. He had the chance to, I thought, but prefers to cut back on his left and then rolls it here towards Bentancur. This is a long way from Brentford's penalty area now. Van de Ven finding Udogie and Maddison on the left-hand side. Maddison into the box. It's with Son. Back to Udogie. Son again now finding Van de Ven. Still a long way from the penalty area. Now it's Romero trying to get a ball into the box. A bit of a heavy touch there from Solanke. It's cleared up towards the halfway line. Bumo was chasing it, but Van de Ven gets there first. Gets the ball away from Yarmoliuk, and it's Maddison trying to turn away from Vandenberg. But Brentford now do win it back. The long clearance for Mbumo has been won back here by Bentancur. just quite happy to hang on here at the moment, although Spurs with a lot of possession, but not too much work for Brentford's keeper Mark Flecken. Here comes Brennan Johnson with Pedro Porro down the right-hand side, and once again Lewis Potter gets in the way. It's another corner.
It is indeed. Pedro Porro is now starting to advance down the pitch a bit more, overlapping with Brennan Johnson. Initially in the first half, it was Kulusevski that would drift wide and overlap Brennan Johnson, but now I think Spurs smell blood. They're going after Brentford, and they've won another corner which to take short.
They have taken it short. It's gone back to the taker here, Kulusevski, and now just outside the box, it's Pedro Porro's ball into the box, headed away, taken down here by Carvalho, and now Brentford do try and play out from the back, and Bumo, though, is being hounded there by James Maddison. Maddison gives the free kick away, but he'll be happy with that. Doesn't even get a booking. But Brentford take it quickly, so they've still got a bit of a chance for a counter here. It's Damsgaard down the left-hand side here with Lewis Potter. The ball now back with Mikael Damsgaard, heading towards the penalty area. He's trying to force a corner kick, and the referee has given a free kick to Brentford. It looks as though Damsgaard was just taken out there by Romero. I think Romero was very keen to make sure that contact was just outside the box. Pedro Porro was in there as well. See from this replay who indeed got the final touch. Well, it's take your pick, really. It's either Johnson or Romero, but one of them has taken the man and not the ball.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. That'll be a sore one for Damsgaard in the morning, because he just manages to really cleverly get in front of the two as contact comes in, just nicks the ball in front of them, and then he's quite happy to take the heavy contact from both Johnson and Romero, who were going in very enthusiastically there. I think that's the classic Romero temperament that we've seen there. Just wants to go in and win the ball at all costs, and you're right, he did make sure he was outside the penalty area before he did that full-blooded challenge, but it's still a decent opportunity for Brentford to put a ball in the box.
It is. It's pretty much level with the edge of the 6-yard box, just outside the penalty area. It's only a few yards off the goal line. 5, 6 Brentford players inside the penalty area, and a couple lurking at the edge of the box as well. It's right-footed Damsgaard and left-footed Mbumo, and it's right-footed Damsgaard who drives that right across the 6-yard box. He almost perfectly threaded that to a place where there were no Brentford players at all, and then Spurs can now try and get the ball away. But that's a good challenge there from Van der Berg to win the ball back, and they've still got half a chance here. The ball pumped in towards the edge of the box, and Vicario's come out, and as he handled that outside the box, the Brentford players were certainly asking the question. John Brooks, in fairness, the referee was in a very good place to make that judgment himself. Looking at it live, it was very hard to tell, but it looks as though Christopher Ayer was just a little bit too keen to tell the referee there should have been a free kick to Brentford for the deliberate handball. And it's now Ayer, ironically, who's got the yellow card. Now, does Vicario handle this outside the box? Ooh, I would say that he does. And the one in the air above his head is debatable, but then there's another one when the ball's just sort of by his waist, and he's almost trying to sweep that away. And I think he's clearly outside the box when he does that.
Oh, I mean, I'm not quite sure how the referee has not seen that, because it's probably the most blatant handball I've ever seen. Whether it's because he just assumes it's in the area because it's the goalkeeper, I'm not sure, but it's almost it's a very nice touch actually with the hand from Vicario to just take it away from Ayer. Ayer, his head will be on absolute Mars now because he's been booked for complaining there, but it was a very clear decision for the referee.
I mean, it's an error from the referee. There's going to be a yellow card here for someone on the Brentford bench as well. For protesting. I mean, it's, as I say, the irony is, of course, you can't protest the referee's decision, but when a referee makes a blatant mistake, no one's ever allowed to say it unless it's that scripted show where Howard Webb and Michael Owen just pretty much pat every referee on the back anyway. But, yeah, I mean, that's a blatant handball, and I think the fourth official probably would have heard from his mates at VAR that it is a blatant handball, but, of course, it's not enough for a straight red card, so they're not going to do anything about it. But, yeah, certainly, after all of that, Christopher Ayer, Brentford's right back, gets a booking, and Thomas Frank, Brentford's manager, also gets a booking for protesting the most obvious handball by a goalkeeper, ironically enough. And now the ball played back to Guillermo Vicario. But that move alone, although Brentford will be frustrated by the lack of free kick and the yellow card, what they would say, though, is that it's evidence that Spurs can still be got at. Whilst it's still only 2-1, there is still enough scope, but now Brentford once again have left themselves so open at the back, and Spurs can capitalise on this. But it's a real let-off there. Brennan Johnson just taking a quick shot. Not the right angle for the shot at all, and it's an easy save. It
was indeed. He had a lot of time there, Brennan Johnson, but his first touch just lets him down a little bit, allows Ayer to get across to him, and his shot is then a bit of a panic one, and it's straight into the arms of Flecken. But he didn't really have many options there, did the former Nottingham Forest man, so I'm not going to be too critical of him. He should have had Solanke really bombing down in front of him to give him an easy out ball, but he felt he had to go it alone and made the wrong decision.
Yeah, he took it early, didn't pay off for him on this occasion. The doggy now trying an early ball into the box, that doesn't pay off either. Brentford now in possession here with Mbumo, holds it up and finds Fabio Carvalho, who, as we've mentioned, has been quite anonymous for Brentford. I mean, he is a forward player in a game where Brentford aren't getting forward very much, so I don't want to be too critical of it, but compared to Mbeumo, who is seeing a lot of the ball despite Brentford not attacking very much, Carvalho just needs to get involved a little bit more. With Damsgaard now for Brentford down the left, into Lewis Potter, runs straight into Pedro Porro, who does well to not only win the ball but keep a possession here without giving away a throw. But then Brentford win it straight back here with Janelt, and here is Mikkel Damsgaard. He skips away from Rodrigo Bentancur, and he finds support here from Lewis Potter at the edge of the area now. Lewis Potter going back towards Janelt. Janelt holding it up here and leaving it now for Nathan Collins, and Collins in towards Damsgaard. Now it is Carvalho with the ball into the box, just a little bit under hit there for Mbeumo to do anything with. It's now cleared towards the halfway line where Pinnock gets solid contact on that one and plays it back to his keeper Flecken, and rolls it out quickly here for Yarmoliuk, and now it's down the right hand side here with Vandenberg. Brentford just starting to see a bit more of the ball, and we can see just how high that Spurs offside is. Brentford in possession on the halfway line. The Spurs are only about 15 yards away, but here's a run down the right-hand side. Yarmoliuk hits the deck. I don't think there was much scope for a free kick, and it's now back with Vicario. Finds Romero, early ball down the right-hand side, looking at Brennan Johnson, and that one is overhit, and it's played back towards Mark Flecken as Spurs getting ready to make their first change. It looks like it's Yves Bissouma.
It is indeed. I think maybe they want a bit more stability in that midfield. I'd be really surprised if it's Bentancur to go off, because I think what Postecoglou might want to do is have a bit more defensive bodies in the midfield, because they only do have Bentancur at the moment, who's the only real defensive holding-minded midfielder. But Brentford are now in here, and this is a real big chance.
It's a great ball over towards Mbeumo. Mbeumo goes for goal, and the angle was in favour there of Vicario. Gets his arm down and makes a save, and then the header back towards the Spurs keeper just nullifies that threat altogether. But it's another warning for Postecoglou's side. A 2-1 lead against Brentford is never going to be enough. Visitors are always going to try and get another goal, but Spurs now trying to fix that with a lovely ball through from Maddison, and Son is in. He just can't quite carry on his run. Rolls it over towards Johnson, who plays it across goal. Was that a cross for Solanke? Was that a shot? In any case, Solanke can't get on the end of that, and it goes just wide, and it's out for a goal kick. It is going to be a change, and it's in fact that the player that you suggested might not be going off. So Postecoglou obviously feels as though he can risk taking off Bentancur, who is very much his first choice holding midfielder. But it's Yves Bissouma to replace him. Yeah,
I'm not quite sure about that, to be honest. I think in this midfield it's a very turbulent game, and only having one defensive-minded midfielder is a bit of a gamble to be taken. They have created a lot of chances, I will say, so maybe he wants to go and score that third goal and seal the game, but at the same time Brentford have had a few chances of their own, so I'll just have to see how this one works out.
It's Postecoglou's style all the way through. It's the idea that if his side were going to be open enough to have only one defensive midfielder on at the start of the match, then with half an hour to go and they're 2-1 up, you'll feel as though they can still get away with it. Just getting word of a potential Brentford changer as well. It's looking like Kevin Schade might be getting ready to come on, and I do wonder if this is going to be for Carvalho. Looking at that replay again, I can't decide whether Johnson was shooting or crossing there, but in any case it was too far away from Solanke to be a decent cross, and it was certainly too far away from goal to be a decent effort. But certainly Bissouma is on here for Spurs, and we thought that there might have been a change for Brentford as well. We'll confirm that in just a moment if Kevin Schade really has come on. Kevin Schade is on the field here, and has he come on to replace Carvalho? It's Yarmoliuk, so fair play to Thomas Frank. He's replaced a sort of central, slightly more attack-minded midfielder with pretty much an out-and-out striker/winger, so he's trying to give his side more attacking options here.
He is indeed. That's a pretty audacious change, and Brentford have been under the cosh for large majorities of this game. Taking off a midfielder for a striker is a bit of a gamble, but we'll have to see how it works out for him.
Unless, of course, that does mean that Carvalho is perhaps instructed to sit back as a sort of more of a number 10, perhaps with the central midfielders. So we'll wait and see how it works out, whether or not Brentford have enough attacking possession for actually make that judgment. As Maddison's robbed of the ball, he wants a free kick. Referee says play on, and here is Brian Mbeumo now heading towards the penalty. That's really good covering though from Destiny Udogie, getting back in defence and winning that ball back for his side, although Spurs lose it again. Brentford are getting all over the home side here. It's a ball into the box from Damsgaard. It's Scandinavian miscommunication there, as the Dane couldn't quite pick out the Norwegian, and it's played out for a goal kick to Spurs. 65 minutes gone. Spurs leading against Brentford by 2-1, but I wouldn't say that was the end of the scoring. I still think there's another goal in this game, whether or not it's a winner for Spurs to wrap things up, or an equaliser for Brentford. So now Spurs have this free kick. I think there may have been an offside in the build-up to that Brentford move, in fact, because Spurs do have a free kick around 30 yards out from goal. Van der Ven now waiting to take it. Plays it towards... that's good look. Great little turn there from Solanke, heading towards the penalty area, but it gets stopped around 25 yards out. And that's a terrible challenge there on Damsgaard, and that's nailed on yellow card for substitute Yves Bissouma. The fact that he even had the nerve to have that slightly surprised expression on his face is incredible to me, because that was a really bad challenge.
It was indeed. I mean, I'm not quite sure why he's made that challenge, Bissouma. He's only been on the field for about 5 minutes, and he goes flying in onto Damsgaard, and Damsgaard is going to... he's had a few rough challenges on him today, and that's probably been the worst one so far. So Bissouma straight into the referee's book, and he's not really complaining too much. But again, Postecoglou will be frustrated at that. He's brought on a defensive midfielder, and he's already on a booking now, and there's still 25 minutes left of this game. So whether or not Bissouma will last the rest of it, it might have to be double substituted as this game goes on. We'll have to see.
It's a strong challenge, but Brentford have taken a long free kick, and then it's a poor ball from Sharda. We just flicked that one towards the edge of the box, straight to Destiny Udogie, who's now trying to take on 2 Brentford players for pace. Janelt's claiming he never touched him, and it looks to me as though the referee agrees, and though Udogie lost the ball there after he thought he was being fouled. And here come Brentford now with Mbumo on the left-hand side, square to Fabio Carvalho. He then plays the ball out towards the left-hand side for Lewis Potter. Under pressure there from Pedro Porro. Lewis Potter back in towards Carvalho. Left-hand edge of the penalty area. Carvalho now back heels this in for Damsgaard. And Damsgaard lifts the ball into the box. It's headed up in the air by Destiny Udogie, and that one sails out for a Brentford corner. So it's just starting to shift slightly the pendulum in this game. I think Brentford are just starting to feel a little bit more comfortable at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They're taking the corner kick quickly. I'll get James sorting that in a second, because it's back now with Collins at the edge of the box. He then plays it square over towards Lewis Potter. Lewis Potter's ball into the box. It's picked up by Van der Berg. There's no offside. It's into the box. Sharda with the header, and that's a fabulous save from Vicario by his far post. Still keeping it alive here, Brentford on the left-hand side with Damsgaard. Damsgaard trying to get to the byline, puts another cross in, and it's headed away towards the edge of the area, and it couldn't quite keep it alive this time, Van den Berg. And it will be, looks like it's Johnson on that left-hand side, who's going to try and get the ball away for Tottenham. But again, more pressure here for the home side.
It is indeed. That was an excellent chance for Sharda, the substitute, to get his name on the score sheet and equal the scoring for his side, but he can't quite get enough purchase on the ball from his head. We're looking at a replay now. He's heading it down low into the ground. It's an awkward angle for Vicario, but a save that I think he probably should be making. It's a great save nonetheless, but it's one of those where it is slow and it's bouncing and it's awkward, but it's not impossible to get to.
No, as I say, it's looking at that replay, it's not quite as in the corner as I thought it was initially, and Sharda more precision rather than power with that header, but it's still a very important save there from Vicario. And he's certainly going to have some work to do here as Brentford limber up for a long throw. It's going to be launched into the box here by Ethan Pinnock, and it really is launched. Vicario comes out and just punches that one. And as I say, he's probably had enough time there to try and make the catch, but it's definitely a continental school of thought when it comes to goalkeepers that punching is that much safer, because it does mean that you get a bit more distance on the ball if you try and catch it. Of course, you're just going to leave it at the feet of an opponent. But Brentford now with this corner kick. Mbumo waiting to take it, and he's got... he's been told to... I don't know whether he's either been told to wait or to hurry up by the linesman there, but Brentford now can take this set piece. Hand over to my colleague just after we see this corner kick, and Mbumo just waiting to see where his teammates are. Arm up in the air from him. It's a long angled ball straight into the arms of Vicario, who does make the catch this time, and he bowls it out quickly. 69 minutes gone. It is Tottenham 2, Brentford 1, and it will be James to take us through to full time.
And immediately Son's onto a loose ball, which Flecken has to volley away. He was well outside of his own area there and had to deal with that one well. Carvalho gets the ball down. He was tugged a little bit by Pedro Porro, and I think I'm not quite sure what the referee stopped play for there. Maybe a foul on... an offside it was from Carvalho. He just drifted beyond the Spurs back line and then came back in for a second to try and win that ball back. But the referee, Alan Postecoglou, has decided to make some changes of his own now. Brennan Johnson coming on for Pate Matassar, so that is a defensive change. And I'm not too surprised to be seeing that, because I think that's going to now allow Kulusevski to play in his favoured position on that wing, and then Matassar to drop in and try and help out Bissouma, who is on that yellow card. So I kind of understand that change from Postecoglou. Yeah,
I think that he's perhaps addressing the fact that Brentford are pushing forward a bit more than he was expecting. He probably was hoping that with the attacking lineup he has, that Spurs would have got a third by now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was probably banking with that Bissouma for Bentancur substitution to score another goal, and they haven't done that. It's the 70-minute mark now, and he's probably thought to err on the side of caution and just maybe stop any potential Brentford sustained pressure by bringing on another defensive midfielder. But then again, that does then take away from the chances of Tottenham then going on scoring. Flecken nearly walks the ball into his own goal there. He just lets it run across his body and then has to clear out wide.
Yeah, I mean, Brentford exchanging about 10 passes just to get the ball back towards their own keeper, and with every pass, more and more Spurs players were pressing until eventually it's Ayo, I should say, got a bit of a rush ball there from his goalkeeper, but he was very happy to get a deflection and let it go out for a Brentford throw. But with 20 minutes to go in this one, still finely poised. It's still Villa 0, Wolves 1, Fulham 2, Newcastle 1, Leicester 0, Everton 1, Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0. We'll come back to that because here comes Spurs.
Matasar lays it off for Kulusevski, who's pushed onto that right hand side, but he drifts into the middle now, gives it to Bissouma. Bissouma has a chance to go from range, finds it into Solanke. Solanke tries to feed it back to Bissouma, but Mbeumo does really well. He's chasing all the way back. It was actually Ayer, I do apologise, who chases all the way back and then clears it out for a throw-in. So Tottenham will restart with the throw on the left-hand side, which Udogie will take. Not really one for the long throw, and I don't think Postecoglou is. He wants to get the ball on the floor and try to play some intricate passing moves, which Tottenham have demonstrated so far. I think both the Postecoglou and the players will be pretty annoyed with themselves if this scoreline does remain the same, or Brentford do indeed get an equaliser, because I think they could have had 2 or 3 more, and they're looking for one now. Coming forward here with Udogie, but he's shepherded off well by Pinnock, and then they're able to get away from danger there, Brentford, by clearing the ball long.
Yeah, I think that it's just a sign that perhaps there's no doubt that Postecoglou has an attacking style of play that he's been trying to instill in Spurs ever since he's been here, and I think that that coupled with that pressure he knows that there is here at Spurs, expectations are high from the fans, expectations are high from the owners as well, and the owners aren't afraid to pull the trigger and change the manager either. Spurs under Daniel Levy have proven that time and time again, and arguably bigger and better names than Postecoglou have got the chop quite quickly, so he'll know that if he wants to make a go over here, things have to happen at a fair pace, and this is the sort of game where Spurs need to be winning it. They need to be winning it comfortably as well, and Solanke brought down there, still around 40 yards out from goal, but it's a chance now for Spurs to get the ball into the box.
Yeah, Maddison stands over this one, so it'll be a right-footed strike. He's a fair few yards out from goal, so you imagine this will definitely be a cross looking for the heads of the back post of Van de Ven, Romero and Dominic Solanke, who are the 3 furthest away lining up at the back post. Ball in from Maddison, does look towards Romero, but is headed away by Pinnock. Ball falls to the feet of Kulusevski, then goes out wide to Pedro Porro. He tries to dance past Sharper and then plays a ball to the back post, which is headed away by Mbeumo. Then back to Maddison, who's stayed on that left hand side of the pitch. Thinks about putting a cross in, but instead lays it flat to Bissouma. Bissouma inside now to Van de Ven. Can he try to put a cross in? No, he goes backwards to Maddison, but that's a really poor ball. A defender's pass, that one, and it will go out for a throw into Brentford.
Yeah, a bit of respite for Brentford, although their first thought is always to play out from the back, so Spurs, no surprise, are leaving a fair few players higher up the field here as well, just to try and win any loose balls off the visitors. So, as I say, Postecoglou, he won't be able to relax, and not until his side get a third goal. And Thomas Frank will still believe as though there is a draw here for Brentford to get.
He will indeed. I mean, he's been booked already for his animative stance on the refereeing decisions earlier in the game, and I think he might grow ever passionate as this game goes on, with about 17 minutes of normal time left to play in this match, with Spurs leading 2-1. I don't think you can either say either teams have been the better team. It's not exactly been a game for the football intricate play lovers, but it's been an entertaining fixture nonetheless. Ball out wide now for Brentford on the left hand side with Lewis Potter. Plays it inside nicely to Carvalho, who's then brought down in a heap by Maddison. But they regain the ball, Brentford. Carvalho back on the ball, plays it instead to Pinnock. Thinks about going back to his goalkeeper, but then Carvalho was brought down again, and I think the referee thinks, you know what, fair enough, I'll give you that one. Brentford then restart quickly. Ball out wide from Janelt, plays it instead to Ayer. Remember, he's on a yellow card after an earlier challenge. Ball then to Janelt again. They're playing a nice bit of triangle football here, Brentford. Ball to Ayer, looks to play a ball in behind, looking for Sharda, but Tottenham deal with it well with Van de Ven. They now play out from the back. Maddison with the ball, goes back to Udogie. Udogie tries to lift the ball long for Solanke, and Solanke does get there. Can he try and flick one onto Son? No, but he plays instead to Maddison. Ball's deflected and finds its way to Bissouma, and then Bissouma is clattered at the back by Ayer, but it was a fair challenge, and Tottenham will restart with a throw in there.
Again, it's just not really. Brentford aren't able to make it stick in midfield, and that's been the problem for them throughout this match. That they're sort of any kind of chances they've had have either been from a counter or from a bit of an error. And from Spurs' point of view, what they're trying to do now is just to keep the ball as much as possible and not to allow Brentford to have any even sniff of a half chance. But you can see their camera first of all focusing on Daniel Levy and then on Ange Postecoglou. As I say, Spurs are winning in this game, so it's not like it's panic stations, but with it only being 2-1, they just need that little bit more to get it over the line. And here they come again.
Porro leaves it away for Kulusevski on the right hand side. Looks to play a ball into the back post, and it was a decent one. Solanke was lurking, but Flecken need not intervene there because it was always sailing out for a goal kick.
Yeah, he followed it, didn't he, Flecken? He was about to sort of jump for it, but then he realised it's angling, and then in the end he just puts his hands away, and he knows that no Spurs player will be able to get on the end of it. And that's been another feature for Spurs this afternoon, that the quality in the final third has been lacking at times as well.
It has indeed. They've brought in Solanke and they brought in Johnson last year, looking to make an impact in the attack. I'm not going to judge Solanke because obviously he's been injured and he has scored today. He's played fairly well, but they do seem to lack that, Harry Kane profile. I know he's one of those players that's probably fairly irreplaceable, but at the same time they seem to create so many chances and yet aren't clinical enough in front of goal. Heung-min Son himself could have had probably 2 or 3, and yet he's likely to finish this game with 50 minutes left with no goals on the score sheet today. And they just need to work on that clinicality if they want to challenge 4 trophies, as Postecoglou says he wants to.
Well, this is it. I mean, the expectation is that they are going to be challenging for every competition that they're in, and I think Postecoglou, as I say, we made the point at the start of the match, made a rod for his own back with that I always win a trophy in my second season comment, and he'll be getting worried here now because here come Brentford.
They're on the attack here. It was Lewis Potter going forward, but Romero just does enough to get the ball out wide, but it's only as far as Ayer, plays it to Mbeumo, the goal scorer, then lets it off for Damsgaard. Damsgaard plays a good ball to the back post, and Van de Ven just about does enough, but Carvalho's won it back here. This is a good play from Brentford down the left-hand side, and it's off of Pedro Porro, and for some reason Carvalho then sticks a leg out and puts it behind for a goal kick.
Can't understand why Carvalho did that. He had a corner kick made for him there, and he decided to try and keep the ball in play to get another cross into the area. I mean, Spurs were unhappy with a challenge at the end of the ball. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but unnecessary there from Carvalho, who could have left that one, and it goes out for a goal kick. But still, I'm just looking at the 2 benches as well. Spurs, as I say, have made the 2 changes. Sarr coming on for Johnson to try and tighten things up after Bissouma came on for Bentancur in a sort of a straight swap. I mean, they have got a couple of other options, but it seems to me like what Postecoglou wants just to see this 11 to try and see out the game now.
Indeed, as Tottenham play forward now, you just mentioned there that they want to see out the game, but with the chances they've had and the quality of players they've got, should they be going to try and kill this match now? Maddison wins a free kick. He's absolutely livid, offering his shirt to one of the Brentford players, ironically, because of how much he's been grabbed there. It's more of a humorous gesture than one of.
I mean, in that clip there, he had his arm held by Vandenberg. He didn't have his shirt pulled once, so I don't know what he's going on about there, James Maddison. But a couple of changes here for Brentford. It's going to be Mad Roslev and Jonas Konak, the young Turkish midfielder who came to Brentford and almost straight away got injured within about a week of arriving at the G-Tech. But it's Lewis Potter and Damsgaard who go off. And as I say, it will be Roslev to go into that wide role, and Konak will go into the middle.
Yeah, Konak, the number 26 from Turkey. As you said, struggled with injuries in recent times, but he'll be glad to be getting a few minutes here. 12 minutes remaining of this clash today, and we'll see if those changes will bring about any attacking threat from Brentford in the closing few minutes. Ball back to Vicario. He goes long, looking for Maddison, and Maddison does well to keep that one in play. Links up well with Son. Son then tries to play a nice ball over the top. It's chasing for Matasar of all people, and Collins squares him up. Can Sarr get a ball into the box? He goes backwards instead to Son, who's dropped really deep again. I think one of the themes I've noticed with Tottenham is Son seems to drop deeper and deeper the longer the game goes on. And I think ultimately, if you're the manager or a fan, you want him kind of on that last line.
No, you do. I think that I've always been slightly sort of confused about where Son's best position is. I mean, he likes to play on that left-hand side, cutting in. But of course, since Kane has left, there's been more of a goal-scoring responsibility for him, which in Venice he stepped up to last season really well, Heung-min Son. But yeah, he's a player that I think there's bounds of talent, but whether or not he's a natural striker or a natural winger, it may well be that just his style of play means he does just start to lose his intensity towards the end of the game, just because it is quite a high intense sort of style, and potentially just all that running is just taking a bit out of it.
Kulusevski played in behind, it's a ball across goal, but Flecken is able to safely collect that into his hands and play out from the back. Ball into Collins now, tries to go forward here, and they're happy to just try and keep the ball a little bit, but they've given it away now. Pedro Porro has a chance to play a ball into the middle, and he does. Finds Solanke, who gets the other side of Pinnock, and tries to play forward. He's got no real option, but finds Sarr. This is a decent chance for Spurs. Can they try and get a shot away? Maddison lays it off to Udogie. Udogie back to Maddison, just on the left-hand corner of the box. Maddison looking for a route through, but all roads lead to the byline, and he has to go wide to Udogie again. Then to Sarr. Tottenham happy to just keep the ball because they're keeping control of the game while doing so. And as I say that, they then give it away rather needlessly, but then so too the Brentford. Basuma coming forward now, and here's Son, and back to Kulusevski, back to Son, and it's just cut out at the last minute by Ethan Pinnock.
Cleared long by Pinnock, and chasing that one all the way was Sharda. He almost wins it back for Brentford. In fact, he just gets a touch on it as well before Mbumo is beaten to it by Romero, and it's cleared back towards the halfway line. But we've still got 9 minutes plus injury time to go, and Spurs with the lead. There's a foul on the left-hand side of Spurs. It looks as though it's a challenge there from Konak.
It is indeed. The Turkish substitute just giving away one on Udogie, so he's on the floor, the fullback milking the most of that one to get the free kick, and Tottenham quite happy to just take their time. We've just seen a replay on our screens, and it's a naughty tackle that from Konak, very very late, and just almost stamping on the inside of Udogie's foot, so you can see why that was given as a free kick. A substitution for Brentford. Coming off the pitch, he was booked earlier and he's been replaced by Ruzalev, and that'll be to kind of spice things up in the attack, I would imagine, for Thomas Frank.
Yeah, Roslev is just a more natural wide defender. I mean, we actually saw him getting ready to come on a little while earlier. It may well be that Thomas Frank just wanted to bring on Konak on his own. But I was pretty sure that Lewis Potter was replaced by Roslev, so we'll just double check if there was another change in the meantime. But here comes Spurs now with Son down the left.
So Son, he's got to do it all on his own here. He's got support in the box, and he gets the shot away, but it was always going wide. I think it's taken a deflection there, and it's gone behind for a Tottenham corner. I think it's Janelt who's not too happy with that decision from the referee, but I can't see why, because it was always going to be deflected. Yeah, it takes a massive deflection off. I'm not really sure what he's complaining about there. So Tottenham will restart with a corner kick. James Maddison to take. About 7.5 minutes to play of normal time, and then there'll be injury time, of course. Postecoglou looking like he's fretting a little bit on the sidelines, and it'll be a good chance here for Tottenham to try and get another goal and go 2 ahead. Maddison thinks about going short, decides against it, then takes a few steps back, which will anger the Brentford support, you can imagine. He then does whip the free kick into the middle of the box. It bounces around, and there's no one there to attack the ball. Romero, who's got his head in his hands because he has just realised how much of a chance that was.
Well, it's a ball that lands inside the 6-yard box, and having had a flick off, well, that's an incredible vision there. That's an incredible sight when you think there's about 5 Brentford players inside the 6-yard box, not a single Tottenham player, apart from Romero, who was already down on the ground by that stage. So not the best at attacking from Spurs there at that set piece. Brentford won a free kick there, I think, for the challenge on Lewis Potter. But the referee says play on, and the Bees have the ball here in midfield with Konak.
Yeah, Konak driving forward, plays a loose ball across, but it's kept by Janelt. It was a bit of a risky pass that by the Turkish midfielder, but he gets away with it. He ball forward looking for Mbumo, but it's loose, and Van de Ven will try and shield it out, but Mbumo does well to keep it in play. Now ball out wide for Lewis Potter, plays the ball back into Mbumo. Back to Konak now, ball out wide on the side of the pitch. Brentford looking to try and get a ball in the box. Now it's with Van der Berg into Carvalho, but Tottenham are able to sweep that up.
They are, yeah. It's just there's been a problem, I think, for Brentford most of this game. They just lack that additional player, the 2 players up front to really put Spurs under pressure. It requires the passing to be so precise because there just aren't enough players to get that second ball. But it's now been put out for a throw, and Spurs now with a chance. We can see interesting stat there for second half possession, 50% each, exactly bang on 50. So it just shows you that Brentford have seen enough of the ball, but just not really been able to do too much with it.
No, they haven't. Where Spurs have been quite good in creating chances, Brentford haven't really done that. They have had the clinicality. The chances they've had, they've done quite well with, but they haven't just created enough. But this could be a chance here. Run forward from Carvalho, but that's an excellent tackle from Basuma to nullify that threat. And now it's a ball through for Son, and this has turned on its head now. Son feeds it through to Maddison. Big chance here for Maddison. Dings the keeper and into the back of the net, over the head of Flecken. And Spurs do get their 3rd goal. It's James Maddison with a deft finish, and it all changed in an instant there, and Tottenham find themselves in cruise control.
They do, yeah. It's too easy from Spurs' perspective. But from Brentford's perspective, in terms of the defence, it was far too easy. It was Brentford in attack, and just 2 passes later, Spurs are through on goal, and it really shouldn't have been that easy, as the challenge comes in from Romero to win the ball back inside his own box, or just at the edge of his own box. It's then quickly played through the middle, and once it's through to James Maddison, he's not going to miss that chance, and he gets it over the keeper. Should be a nailed-on yellow card as well, of course, for taking his shirt off with the celebration.
It should indeed. There's been quite a few bookings so far in this game, and it all comes from that tackle from Basuma on Carvalho, and it's a lovely ball from Romero through the middle to Son. Son then puts it between the legs of Pinnock, and then it's a beautiful finish from James Maddison. Flecken does commit pretty early for that one, so I wonder if maybe that's made up Maddison's mind and meant that he has no other option but to dink it over the goalkeeper. But nonetheless, a very good finish. Won't take anything away from that, but maybe Flecken could stay a bit tall for a bit longer.
Possibly so. I think that once Maddison's in that position, it may well be that the fact that the keeper is starting to sort of angle like he is going to try and hit the deck. But in fact, Maddison's actually trying to lift it over him anyway. So the fact that Flecken was coming out was probably enough for Maddison to try and go for that dink finish. And it's a very good finish as well with his weaker left foot.
It is indeed. I mean, you can see why he's ecstatic. He hasn't had the best run of form. Last season started well, but then slowly kind of petered off, I think, towards the end. And he's been one of the players who's been under a bit of criticism himself for his recent performances, so he'll be very happy, along with Brennan Johnson, another goal scorer tonight, this afternoon, to find himself on the score sheet. That'll do his confidence a world of good, and it'll do Postecoglou's confidence a world of good, and also the fans' confidence in Postecoglou. So confidence for everyone involved after today's fixture.
Yeah, it's a big goal. Maddison just confirming that he did get a yellow card for his celebrations. He can't take his shirt off, of course, because sponsors pay a lot of money to see footballers at the moment they score, so you can't be taking your shirt off. But in any case, the changes being made here for Spurs. It's going to be, it looks like there's a few players getting ready to come on, including one that's, so we're going to have Bergvall, I think, coming on. But in the meantime, Brentford are going to make their next change. It's going to be Ryan Trevitt coming on here to replace Fabio Carvalho. Trevitt did play in the game against Leyton Orient in midweek. Now the changes for Spurs. It looks like a double change here from Ange Postecoglou. Maybe even a triple change. Solanke will be one of the players to go off. A decent round of applause. I did see that Bergvall was getting ready to come on. I think Archie Gray is getting ready to come on as well. And confirmation that Solanke is off to be replaced by the youngster Mickey Moore. He's on the field. This is Bergvall. This is Archie Gray. Archie Gray, very much a target. He was pretty much a signing for Brentford at one stage in the summer, until all of that was usurped by Tottenham. But Gray is on, Bergvall is on, and Moore is on as well. So a triple changer at the end of the game here for Spurs, as they look to try and just see out the game. But that was a big goal from Maddison, and now, as you say, everyone can relax.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always good for a manager to just bring on the youth when the 3 points have been almost guaranteed to be wrapped up, and Archie Gray will be one of those players. He played so much for Leeds. He was so crucial in their season last season, and he'll want to start trying to break into this first team. He doesn't really want to only get the occasional minute here or there. He'll want to be a mainstay in this Tottenham side. But Brentford coming forward here, it's a good ball into Schade, but cut out well by Van der Ven, and he hoofs the ball up to Kulusevski. Brentford almost came away with the ball there, but then all of a sudden, the ball was robbed off of him, and Archie Gray will restart with a throw-in on the left touch line. It's about a minute or so left of normal time to play here. Gray restarts with a throw-in. There's not a lot of movement going on. Son drops in deep, but Gray decides against it. And Tottenham quite happy to just see this one out, I think. It goes into Sarr, and then Sarr kicks it out of play, but it takes a little deflection off of a Brentford man. I believe it was Konak. Postecoglou here, very animated on the touchline.
Yeah, he'll still be wanting to get further instructions at it. But just to tell you very quickly, Spurs' next game is at home in midweek. They're in the Europa League against Karabag. before the small matter of the late game next Sunday when they play away to Manchester United. Brentford's next game will be at home to West Ham next Saturday in the Premier League. But yeah, from Postecoglou's point of view, I mean, he'll be happy with the result. Whether or not he'll be happy with the style of play, I think he'll say that his side were worked hard today by a Brentford team who did come here with a plan to try and get a goal, try and frustrate Spurs as much as possible. But he'll be happy that his side have won the game, and actually the fact that they have done it in quite a gritty way will please Postecoglou.
Absolutely, as Pinnock is in a wrestling match with Kulusevski. Kulusevski got the better of him, and then Pinnock just about recovered. Fourth of the assistant holds up 5 minutes of added time for this game, so we'll see if Tottenham want to push on for another goal, or Brentford can pull one back. There is a goal in the Fulham-Newcastle game. Harvey Barnes has scored just after the second half restarted, and then Fulham have now scored to make it 3-1 in the 91st minute. So to run you through the scores, it finished in the early kick-off 3-0 to Chelsea against West Ham. Aston Villa drawing with Wolves 1-1 at home. Fulham 3-1 up against Newcastle. Leicester 1, Everton 1. Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0. Southampton 1, Ipswich 0. Tottenham 3, Brentford 1 in our game. And of course we have Crystal Palace versus Man United as the late kick-off tonight. Ball back to the feet of Flecken. He then goes wide to Lewis Potter. Ball inside to Mbeumo, but it's given away. Sarr comes away with the ball and can't quite squeeze it through to Basuma, but Basuma does well to win the ball back, and it's played out wide now. Tottenham are back on the attack. Ball drilled into the middle by Son it was, and Brentford are able to clear their lines. Now let's try and play out from the back. Ball into Konak, plays forward now. They're on the attack here. It's ball forward to Sharda, but he has been flagged offside. He looked to be a little bit too clean and away there.
Yeah, I think he can't even turn around and blame his teammates there for delaying the pass. He just went way too early there, Kevin Sharda. So no chance of that one being reaching to him whilst he's still in an onside position. Referee just making sure that ball is taken from the correct spot. But from Brentford's point of view, well, even before this season started, when they looked at these two fixtures in mid-September, away to City and then away to Spurs, I think even the most optimistic Brentford fan would have said, well, if you give us 2 points from those two games, we'll be delighted. And they did their best at Man City last week, certainly in the first half. And they started well here at Spurs, but still too many defensive lapses, I think, from Brentford. But there'll be some positives from this game as Archie Gray trying to take the ball into the corner. Just robbed of it there by Trevitt before it goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Trevitt wins the ball back, and then Archie Gray, in an attempt to win it back, kicks out for a goal kick, which Flecken restarts with. Ball played out wide to Mbeumo. Goes inside to Konak, the Turkish substitute brought on earlier on in this second half. Now it's good play now. They're going forward, Brentford. There's an opportunity for a ball inside to Sharda, but instead it goes to Mbeumo. Van de Ven comes away with the ball. He's got pace now, and he's going to drive at the heart of the Brentford defence. It's Kulusevski on his left foot. He's got a little bit of a chance to shoot on his right. Cuts it back into the middle, but there's no one there. Son was the closest person, but he'd made his run far too early, and now Mbeumo comes away with the ball. He's going to try and attack down the left-hand side for Tottenham. He's looking to play a long ball and does. It's into towards Sharda, but Vicario was always going to be winning that one ahead of the Brentford number 7. So he collects the ball and then rolls out back to Basuma. Basuma to Sarr. Back to Basuma. Looks to play a ball to the left and does in Udogie. The run forward from Moore, but Udogie instead goes straight to Gray. Ball forward again now. Back to Basuma though. And Van de Ven. A bit of time on the ball, goes to Romero. Romero then out wide to Archie Gray. Archie Gray seems to be feeling as almost left back. He did last season in the Championship for multiple games, but he does prefer to play in midfield. But now Brentford are in here. Charlotte been played through on goal. Can Vicario get there? Just about. And he's very animated at his defence, because he should not have been put under that much pressure there. There
was enough time for the Spurs defence, and there was enough space for them to try and do something with that. But in the end, it did require that sliding challenge from the keeper. We've still got just over a minute of injury time to play. Brentford in possession, but late goals elsewhere. Villa now lead 2-1 against Wolves in injury time, and Ipswich have got a very late equaliser against Southampton. So the two newly promoted sides still without a win there.
Yeah, but Brentford coming forward here. Collins plays in Mbeumo. He's held up by Kulusevski and somehow doesn't go down under pressure from the Spurs man. Gets it back off Collins again though. Ball into the middle, looking for Sharda, but Vicario quick off his line to claim that one and hold on to it, and then immediately once again shouting instructions at his defence. He doesn't seem to be too happy with them in the final few moments. 40 seconds left of additional time to be played, and What are your overall thoughts on this match?
I think it's an important response from Spurs, as you say. The way that they were sort of hounded out of the North London derby last week, the way they conceded a goal inside 25 seconds today, people were thinking, oh God, it's the same again from Spurs. We're going to have another awkward afternoon. But they've responded well. They've seen a lot of the ball. They've taken it to Brentford, and they've got their reward. So I think from that point of view, Postecoglou will be relieved. But here come Brentford maybe for one last chance in the game.
Yeah, with Sharda drifting wide, trying to play the ball inside to Konak, but it was cut out well, and Trevitt couldn't make his run off the back of that. Ball back to Sharda now. Goes back to Trevitt, then back into the midfield area. And it's full time there from the referee, so it's finished Tottenham 3, Brentford 1.